ATF for the family. Hell as you saying, I am the man, I go super saiyan when I'm on the beat.
Yeah, due to key projection, it's real easy for my voice to go. I will talk and yell at the same time, and it's the same tone.
That is wild.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is HERBsurdity Podcast El Segundo, and this is the HERBsurdity Podcast with Alex and Herb. To my left is my co-host,
Alex. What's up, y'all?
Just Alex. That's what I need.
Yeah,
we gotta keep the branding the same. If we don't say just Alex at every single time, I don't think the people will respond respectfully.
Yeah, probably.
If I can spend every weekend making sure I drink nothing but Orange Jubilee and water, you can spend time reminding people that your name is just Alex, no last name. We don't do last names out here in these blocks no more. That's old. That's 2019.
And I only get one.
Because that's all you need. You fill the rest of the world with your talent, right? Your birth certificate literally says, like, just Alex on it, and then it says, nigga, that's all you need, like, right there. And I want y'all to know that's the first time I said any curse words or N-words on the podcast. But I've been drunk for way too long starting this thing.
Way too long. Introduce the guest, sir.
All right, with me, This is a Muay Thai champion, right? May not declare himself as such, but I would declare himself as such. We talked about Floyd Mayweather on the show. This is one person I think that can actually beat him. His name is Roberto Ford. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please, brother.
Hey, y'all, man. This is Roberto. Man, it feels weird hearing somebody call me a Muay Thai champion. It's funny just being amateur, but it's funny to kind of actually own that now. Yeah, there we go.
Cece, please introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all. It's Cece.
That's a fantastic introduction. I
mean, keep it simple.
So for everybody who doesn't know, I have mentioned before that I will watch just about any competition, no matter what the circumstances. I will watch people wrap bouquets if I have to, just because it's on television and they tell me that there's a speed challenge, because I never thought about who wraps a bouquet before, but the moment you tell me it's on television, it's on ESPN 17, and and there's 7 40-year-old ladies from Davenport, Connecticut, in a competition to wrap bouquets. I'm gonna observe and see who's the champion. Why Davenport, Connecticut? You ever wrapped a bouquet, Alex?
No.
You ever familiar with the bouquet wrapping community of Davenport, Connecticut?
Is that a thing?
It is, because I made it up, but I'm pretty sure if there's going to be anywhere in America where bouquet wrapping is a competitive sport, it's going to be Connecticut, for sure.
You know what? Yeah, okay.
Maybe there's a deep southern scene too. Probably like in Louisiana.
Yeah, maybe Mississippi, Alabama.
Not Alabama. We're not gonna talk about Alabama.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a fan of Alabama. Alabama. The first time I ever went to Alabama, I was called the N-word and had yogurt thrown at me by an 8-year-old.
You said yogurt?
Wow.
Yeah, because he said he wanted to lighten me up. That was a rest stop in Alabama. My first experience there. Other than that, though, beautiful state if you like trash. So that's fantastic. Fantastic news. I just lost every listener in Alabama we had except one. Precious Rose, shout out. How you doing? That's one of my most loyal fans right there. My friend Precious is always listening, and she's in Alabama right now, and she can tell you that the state is just okay.
Okay.
All right, so what we're gonna get into right now is we're gonna ask you guys some questions. For those who have seen the show before, Alex usually asks the orthodox questions, and I'm gonna ask the unorthodox questions because there's things I want to know, and it depends on who you want to go first. Because I got one on the tip of my tongue that's been sitting there all day long, and I really want it.
Go ahead.
Now, I said myself that you could beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight. Could you actually beat Floyd in a fight?
Man, nah. Straight up. No, that's me being completely. That's not even me just being humble. That's me being realistic.
I just want to ask, can you land a punch on him?
I mean, at the end of the day, in a fight, yeah, you can land a punch on somebody. Are you gonna win? That's kind of tough.
No.
I mean, people shout out Conor instantly when he fought him.
Yeah.
Now, I never said nobody doesn't have a puncher's chance when I talk to my friends about it. Like, it's always a possibility for someone to win, always a possibility for somebody to lose.
Right.
Are you going to come out unscathed? That's very low.
Yeah.
You're going to take something. Do I think I can land a punch? Possibly. I can land something. Do I think I'm going to outbox Floyd Mayweather?
Right.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I doubt that.
no. So let me clarify. Because I realize now my question was misinterpreted. I didn't ask if you could box
Oh.
UK, one of the most decorated boxers in history. I didn't ask that. I said, could you beat him in a fight? Now, I ain't talking about organized, couple million on the line, you getting paid $1 million if you lose, because in that case, who cares, right? You get $1 million. Who cares if you lose, right? I'm saying street fight. I'm talking about y'all at a house party. He said something about your mama. He didn't say something about your girl. And you feel like he testing you right now, right? You had a little bit of Hennessy in you, a couple shots, perhaps an Orange Jubilee or two, and you ready to throw it down. Floyd has had an equal amount of alcohol to you, right? We're going to make it fair.
All right.
Right?
And
We'll have
sloppy, yeah.
the same amount of shots, okay? We'll say they had 7 shots apiece,
Okay.
All right.
right? They're lighter. They're in the lighter weight division, so we got to
They
say,
started opposite sides of the room, and they just meet like 2 trains in the night.
yeah.
It's
That's
gonna be
I
like-
like that.
It's going to be like that episode of Chappelle's Show when, what was it? When they bumped shoulders in the club and they just they got into that fight. It's going to be like that.
That's exactly it. That's how I want it. So that's the scenario, right? Like 7 shots in, you see each other from across the room, bump each other. You say something about your mama. You say something about your girl. What happens next? What's the first thing you hitting them with?
Man, off jump, I'll probably kick him in the knee. Because he ain't going to expect kicks. Nobody expects anybody to throw a kick.
But you gotta
No.
think about Muay Thai kicks.
No, that-
Muay Thai kicks
no.
are brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you take kicks and you bring them into the boxing, I mean,
even in the street. I mean, if I landing, I don't think people really understand how much damage a kick can do. I think just from people watching UFC, they get it. Watching kickboxing, you don't really necessarily get it as well because it's part of it. It's like if you're watching a boxing match, you just think, oh man, just hit him.
Right.
Because they're constantly getting hit. You see people be able to take it. But when you get somebody's shin bone connect with your kneecap, your leg, your calf, and you never experience that type of pain or know how to brace for it in your life,
My joint hurt right
it's
now.
a different kind of feeling. It's legitimately like getting hit with a baseball bat. So, like, that would probably be my first move. I know after that he's immediately going to throw a punch. So all I'm going to do is duck under it, double leg him, get a takedown, get him on the ground, either hit or just choke him out. That's all it really takes.
Okay.
but what kind of choke?
Oh,
That's a good question.
Probably rear naked, most
Rear
secure.
naked?
Yeah, you get behind them. They can't punch you. They can't hit you. They can't pick you up if you get them in like a guillotine or a front headlock.
But he's small and he's a little scrappy too.
Yeah, good luck trying to hold me.
yo, that's
I'll be straight up. Good luck
See,
trying to hold me.
and that's first off, this is the importance of teamwork. I don't want to talk to you
Yeah.
about it right? Because notice, in this scenario, Floyd insulted her as well,
True.
right? So she's giving advice on how to take the man out, right? In this scenario, right? Now-
What did y'all fuck about, baby?
Now,
Yeah.
now what
Yeah.
what weight class are you in right now?
When I fought at 125. I will walk around on average rate 145 for the most part.
Feel like they put y'all in the same weight class.
Yeah.
I think Floyd fought at what? He fought around 145, 147,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
He would cut weight. So, I mean, he probably walked around like what? 60-ish maybe I would give. If he's in good shape
might.
consistently, it seems like he stays in the 50s. So, yeah, roughly we would be about the same weight class.
I would pay to see it. I'd watch that.
I'd do it.
I watch.
Shoot,
I'd
pay me too so I can get something out of it.
Hey man, ain't nobody gonna snare $1 million. I'm trying to tell you. I don't care how much you got. Jeff Bezos. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say his name, but is the richest man in the world. That's a blanket statement. I'm allowed to say that. State facts, right?
Yeah.
Richest man in the world, right? But if somebody was like, "Hey, Jeff Bezos, give me $1 million," he'd probably be like, "For what?" Right? Like he'd at least ask you what it's for first. So like, I don't care how much money you got. You hear the word $1 million, you still go, maybe. I don't.
As a businessman, he's gonna be like, Well, I got to at least entertain the idea.
Yeah.
Nobody's just going to say $1 million just for no reason.
He's also not just gonna say, yeah, whatever. I don't care about that. If you say $5 to a billionaire, they probably give like, what? Remind me what that is again. I don't remember what $5 is. And they gotta think about it. But if you tell them $1 million, they're like, I do gotta go to the gas station later, so maybe.
Right.
And he's like, you need to go get gas. Now I gotta buy a gas station later. Make sure I remember how to get there. It's very important. Now, I'm glad I know the truth because we discussed T.I. and Floyd before, and the steps T.I. could have taken to prevent it getting his face used as a sparring match. So it was a bad scene because he made that video. And he's, the two black guys, where they at though? And it was right there though. Like I could see him.
Oh no.
With my eyeballs, but he couldn't because they was swole up. So his joints were swole up, and apparently they didn't have mirrors in that studio when they was filming.
Well.
And the next question I gotta ask for those who have never gotten to know just Alex on a personal level, you mind presenting some tattoos to the YouTube world, sir? You got a lot of YouTube subscribers want to see that. So you can see my man has more than one Superman tattoo. I wanna make that very specifically clear, right? Roberto, why don't you tell everybody
What are you trying to do
your
right now?
superhero namesake? I just want to.
Man.
I just want
might as well just show my wallet because I got a Batman wallet.
Oh, man. What are you trying to do right now?
I knew I wanted to do this when I invited him on the
I'm a
show.
pop stopper with Batman on it.
Why
I
would
love
you,
Superman
first,
too.
no,
Don't get
no,
it twisted.
Herb.
I'm a DC. I'm a
I
DC
get-
fan.
I know what he's trying to do. You just first and foremost you introduce the topic of him being a fighter, right? You know I love Superman enough to fight somebody. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Oh, see, like
Hey, look, man. I ain't saying I'm instigating, but I'm saying if we came to hands over comics, that's more than Stanley could ever hope for. R.I.P. I'm just trying to see the world progress. I'm just trying to let them know the nerds out here got hands now. Okay, it ain't like it used to be back in the '80s. You can pick on them and get them bullied. Nerds out here are now serving up whoopings. Okay, serious whoopings. Matter of fact, before I even ask the question, let me tell y'all what I know about Roberto's first two fights that I personally have seen any evidence of, right? Because I can't say that I've seen every fight. I can't say that I've seen every competitive sport that's ever happened. I can say that I've experienced at least one instance of every competitive sport that has ever happened, but I can't say that I've seen every single instance of every bout, right? So first fight, I've seen video footage, right? He goes in inexperienced, right? He's never technically fought. He sparred, he practiced, but this is on the line, people screaming in your face, win or lose, like go home sad, you know what I'm saying, go home happy scenario, right? Could potentially die in a ring type, you know.
I mean, yeah, that's a way to introduce the concept, but yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's, sometimes people want to shake hands, and sometimes people want to catch hands. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so the fight starts, and I would say from the video I seen, it felt like 3 seconds in. It might have been 10, but it felt like 3 seconds in, because what I saw was nameless opponent who didn't matter. Right? It was like he looked like he was built like, when you accidentally had the toilet paper touch the toilet water before.
Oh no.
Well, they just like, it's just like mad wet and white. Like it's just like it's wet already. Like somebody starts sweating before they get into physical activity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm slightly triggered, but okay.
That's like if you watch NBA, but like you see somebody in a flop sweat like coming out to get introduced when they still got the warm ups on.
Shaq was existed.
When he started getting the belly, it was like that, right? So like my man clearly wasn't in a great shape, right? And Roberto was like working out nonstop, extra anxious and nervous about the joint coming up. So he like went way too hard, right? Like he's like he had, when people get real cut up and like this a fat arm though. So imagine this arm was like muscular, like just mad cut up, right? So you had like the bicep joint, and then you had this what's this called, y'all?
Tricep.
Tricep.
The tricep joint, and then there's like that it's like supposed to be like a tendon right there, but it's like somehow when people get real cut up, they get like a third joint right here. I don't even know what that is, but it'd be between the two, right?
Right. Okay.
Like shit, y'all show them y'all arms. Y'all work
God.
out. Y'all go to the gym and stuff.
I work out a little bit.
See-
I do not.
Is that it?
But you still got like a part of the thing, and I don't have because this is fat boy arms. But that's
that
like
about right?
I've
seems
been in a
about
gym
right.
joint, right? So there's like a third thing there, right? So he had the third thing, and homeboy, his joint looked like mine except if I never ate biscuits. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just mad skinny.
Right.
Like it was a skinny arm. It was a weight class issue. Right. So he gets in there and everything starts. And we're gonna throw like a 3-piece at him, and my man give up. Like he couldn't take it. Like you could tell he never been punched before. Like look like he had never been hit, and so he got hit for the first time in his life, and he like that, and he fell over, and he just gave up.
Oh, wow.
He just told her, I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. Like he learned his lesson immediately. I don't want to do this no more.
So which fight was that though?
I know which one. Was it an MMA fight?
I'm talking about your very first one with the
Well,
long hair.
If that was my very first one, my very first fight I had was a Thai fight. And that one was a black dude named Anton Bo, had dreadlocks.
No, not that
Not
one.
him. So
Nah,
this must be
that-
an MMA fight. It was in a
Yes.
cage. That one's in
Yes.
Richmond. That's a dude. I know exactly who it is. He came down from New York. And for what I heard, they came from a jiu-jitsu school. So I don't think he had a wealth of striking experience compared to me. Because by that point, I had already had 4 Thai fights by the time I had my first MMA fight. It's an interesting story that goes on to that as well, too. So here was the thing. For that event, it was in Richmond. It was in 2012. So it was my MMA debut at that point.
Okay.
First amateur MMA fight. Only done kickboxing from there. So the head owner from their gym fought one of our guys a few years before in an MMA fight as well. What happened, their guy put our guy in what we call an Americana. If you don't know what that is basically you get somebody's arm like this and you bend it the opposite way. So it messes up your shoulder. The thing that made this worse, instead of him doing it with his actual hands to lock it, he used his legs. So imagine if you ever watch MMA, you see somebody in what they call a crucifix position. You have an arm and a leg isolated, you'll hit him. He does this with his legs. Our guy taps. Apparently when the ref was going to break him up, he popped his hips forward, so he breaks his arm.
Oh wow. Ooh.
He only took one other fight after that, and it wasn't a few years later to that happened. But up until this point, our coach had like a little bit of a vendetta towards it because everybody from our gym was fighting everybody from his gym that night, and they were coming down to Richmond. So they all wore these New York Giants jerseys at weigh-ins, trying to show off like they were the crew. They came in, we beat everybody. You can find this fight on YouTube. You can find it on there. You can search my name, MMA, Operation Octagon, Richmond. It'll be one of the first ones that come up. So it was a big story going on to that. But so my coaches were very proud when I won that
Yeah, I
fight.
bet.
I can't. Antoine Bo though. That's the one where my man kissed the knee, right? Yeah.
That was it. I'll never forget that comment when my boy said that.
Yes. I'm sorry. I gotta relax myself because I seen a picture and that's the first thing somebody showed me was just a picture because the fight was so quick. It was like when people were trying to explain me the fight. It's like when somebody starts a story. And then they get to the end, but you still waiting on them to start the story still.
Yeah.
Like you waiting. It's like, all right, so yeah, you went to the store, and yeah, that's it. I just went to the store. You're like, God, Zao, that's it. That's the whole joint. So, and I tell people this story all the time. This is one of the funniest things I've ever experienced when it comes to fighting for a living, right? Like. So he goes to shoot on him, right? And if anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's like a takedown, like a grapple, right? When you go for the legs. But the way Berto experienced it to me was that he didn't have a big wrestling background at the time. He didn't know what to do when somebody went down that way, so he just put up his legs to block like you would in Muay Thai, right? Like you just think to yourself like, I got to make sure my legs is up to protect myself. And the knee connected swiftly to his face. And that was it. Like
By
that was
accident?
I was throwing a kick.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I don't know why. Maybe it was like adrenaline. I don't
Yeah.
really remember much of the fight. I know it went to a decision, surprisingly. Like, it went to a decision. There are two things I remember from that fight, to be honest. One, I remember, like, right when it started, he kicked me in my leg because I was trying to back up after throwing a combination. I do a full 360. He puts me up against the cage and knees me right on my hip. Instantly, all I thought was, oh, that hurt. That hurt like hell. I never been kneed in my hip before. That hurt like shit. And then the second thing I remember was just me winning the fight, and it was over. I don't know if I closed my eyes too much when I was throwing because I was like scared as hell at the same time a little bit. I don't know. Those like the only two things I remember. But that picture, like, I remember looking at it and going, I don't know when that happened. I really don't. And from the picture itself, when you Google it, it literally looks like he's headbutting my actual leg.
Oh, wow.
I got a full hip over. I'm turning the kick. My knee is completely leveled, and his head is flush into it.
Bradley, it looked like the most well-placed and timed knee ever, bro. Like, I swear, it looked like it was so intentional. But the way the story was told to me from Jump Street, they made it seem like that's how the fight started. Like, they said it like, all right, bell rang, kissed my man's knee, and that was it. That was over. Right? And I was just like, it's a second and a half fight. Like, how does that work? Right? And like, they showed me the picture, and I was like, that's ridiculous. And somebody was like, yo, you thinking about training? I was like, no, I would never go. I don't want to do any sport where I can just kiss somebody's knee and pass out later. I'm not built like that. I'm not built the same. You know what I'm saying?
Which brings me to my question. Like, how did you get started? How did y'all get started for both of y'all?
Serious question.
Man.
Do you want to go first?
That's my whole
How
job
about
on the
I
show.
tell how I got started with that, and you can tell how we met.
Okay.
All right, so it's kind of weird, like, saying what got me into fighting, because it always seems like it goes back to a question of, like, why fight or why do you fight at all?
Right.
Because it's not a typical sport.
Yeah.
It's one thing to grow up playing basketball. It's one thing to grow up playing football. It's like there's contact in it, but when you do something that involves you getting hit and having consequential physical damage, it's like what attracts you to that? So the best way I can kind of like sum it up, I grew up with my granddad.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was in the Navy, so for the first couple years of my life, I grew up watching classic action heroes. I was watching Jean-Claude Van Damme. I was watching Bruce Lee, watching all these like kung fu and martial arts things. So growing up, I was always attracted to it.
Right.
And deep down, I always wanted to learn kickboxing. I watched like Bloodsport and Kickboxer. I just wanted to be like Tom Poe. I just wanted to learn how to do Muay Thai. I always thought it was a cool thing to do. And growing up, I never had the chance to actually put myself in that environment. I grew up with asthma. I was always the undersized, very skinny kid. To give everyone an image of how I looked growing up, y'all ever seen the movie The Little Giants?
Yeah.
Y'all remember the little kid that had the glasses and the inhaler?
Yeah.
That was me.
Oh, wow.
That was pretty much me, like almost to the T. Just not blonde hair, blue eye, none of that. So that was practically it. So when I got older and I was in college when I met Herb, I was like, well, I got a car now. I got a job. I can pay to go. I'm going to take this time to do it, and I'm old enough to do it myself. I don't need mom's permission or anything.
Right.
So that's what got me into it. And I started off just wanting to learn. The next thing you know, I was like, it was the whole UFC wave in like mid-2000s, and I was like, you know what? I'll try it. I'll see what fighting is like, just so I can say I did it. And just fell in love with it.
I like that. One of the biggest things that was happening during that time, because it was like a major craze, like everybody. For the younger viewers, I'm old. I'm in my 30s, early 30s, but I'm not Gen Z. So
Barely, but okay.
what, man? I'm a straight millennial.
So what's the difference between Gen Z and millennial? Sorry for the tangent, y'all.
So all right, it depends on how close you are to 9/11, honestly. So I'm actually what's called an elder millennial. So 88 and to like 85, 84,
82.
82.
I'm an elder.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. So it means we grew up with, like, we know the time what the world was like before the internet.
So do I.
92.
I mean, I'm 90. Yeah, I would think 95 and on is kind of like a big noticeable difference, I would think.
Elder millennial is two things, right?
Okay.
So I had to experience like a large percentage of my life without internet access, right? Like I still had to use encyclopedias for everything, which is super whack.
Yeah.
Are the people selling them at your door?
Yo, oh my God. It's so annoying because that was also at the time of my life when my mother would be like, hey, don't answer the door for nobody. And then if I'm home by myself, it's literally like, you can't answer the door, but also don't disrespect adults, but also don't talk to strangers. So it was like a weird conflict of what I was supposed to do. And it'd just be me and my little child head going,
Oh, yeah, I was waiting for Herb to finish his point.
no, good. Let me see this.
All right. According to the Pew Research Center, those in the millennial generation were born between 1981 and 1996, while those in Gen Z were born between 97 and 2012.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. I don't rock with Gen Z. I'm super whack. I have this feeling Gen Z thinks like really highly of themselves, but they also have this bad problem where they think the things that they think are new, and they're not new. So they'll see stuff from like 1984 and be like, oh, that just happened yesterday. I'm like, nah, just because you saw it on the internet yesterday doesn't mean it just happened yesterday. They have no concept of what where original things come from. That they think everything started from whatever YouTuber they saw it from first.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, they don't know what parodies are. They think that's just the first thing. They don't understand
that is
satire.
Unfortunate. Yeah,
it is because the irony in jokes is lost to them. And which is why a lot of times you'll see them comment on things where I started listening to this band ironically and now I just love them. Because you don't know what irony is, man. So like you liked them to begin with and you just were ashamed to admit it, that you thought 100 Gex was genius for playing distorted music. You listen to 100 Gex?
I don't even know who that is.
Of course you don't. It's old man. That's not what's important right now. I forgot what we were talking about before.
Cece was about to answer her question.
Yeah,
Explain how we met.
Oh, I'll start how I got into it first.
Yeah.
So I started training in 2008 after college. So I graduated from college, and you know that point once you like are back home with your parents and your parents are like, you've been around this house way too much, like you need to do something as you're applying. So I was like angry and like, you know, like when you're applying, you keep getting like rejected, right, from jobs. So my dad's like, hey, I just signed you up for kickboxing. And I was like, or Muay Thai. I don't know. And I was like, okay, I'll go. And I was like, I got the hint. So I went and like to my first class and they were like, oh, you get to kick this bag. And I'm like, wait, what? I get to kick this bag? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, it's on. Like, this is going to be fun. And, you know, growing up as a woman, like I was always made fun of being bigger, right? And these big, thick legs of mine, you know, like you get self-conscious about it. And then you kick the bag and you're like, oh, these are like weapons. Like, these are nice. I like this, you know? And I grew up watching, you know, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah. But you know, I was like, this is amazing. So I started getting into it, and I'd been training for a few years, and Berto and I have a common friend, and I went to his gym because I trained at a kickboxing gym forever, and I was like, okay, I'll go with you. And Berto was teaching the Muay Thai class, and I decided to spar Berto, and Berto like kneed me 20 times, and I started laughing. Because I was like, this dude is like he's too fast. Like, I'm not built to be fast.
And for the record, I wasn't hurting her.
No, it was not hurting me.
It wasn't abuse. She
I was
signed
laughing.
the waiver. I signed the waiver. We're good. We're good. It's not abuse. We're both consent to it. It's fine.
So, yeah. I was totally signed the waiver. After he, like, killed us that class with elbows. But yeah, that was like our first meeting, and then we went to a seminar, and we had another common friend, and Berto decided to stalk me that entire time, and then come outside and try to be Mr. Swag.
Oh, and time out real quick. First off, I did not stalk her.
Okay.
Right? And second, as she goes to this thing, I'm gonna admit, guys, I took a huge L on this. I had no game going into this. Typically, I always have something to approach people. This, I was lost. I was going in blind. I basically just yeeted myself out there to try to break the ice, and somehow it worked. That's all I did. I just Jesus take the wheel, yeet outside, and it happened.
But taking a risk was me outside talking to my girlfriend, and we were in a serious conversation. Berto comes out here. He like has something on his mind, and he stops, and he's like, "Y'all going to Food Lion? I'm going to Food Lion. Y'all need anything from Food Lion?" I was like, "Who is this guy, and why is he interrupting our conversation? Like, what does he want?"
The equivalent of, you like air? I like air. You want to talk?
The lead in, bro. Like, hey, you ever had food before? Because I could eat. like,
Facts.
Yo, Herb, you pulled out a there like you used that before.
hey, look, man. When you this big, right? And I prefer women of not small stature. That is a smooth opening line, actually. Like, I was like, man, it's almost time for me to have something to eat. Because whatever time you say that, it doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. or like 4 in the afternoon. They're like, yeah, you're right. I haven't eaten in a while. And they'll lie to you and tell you it's been like all day, but really they meant like in the past 10 minutes. And then you just go,
Oh no,
you go get something, you know what I'm saying? And they pretend like they haven't had like 4 bags of chips in their purse. And but that's what I support. As I count, depending on how many bags of chips they got in their purse, that's how I know how long we're gonna be together.
4 months or 4 years.
Hey man,
The
the more bags, the better. I just say that. The more bags, the better. All right.
Well, what if it's
Especially
a
if they
family
my
size
kind.
bag? Is that good?
Oh yeah,
Like
that's
a 30 bag?
that's worth double right there, right? The 50-cent joints, they okay. You know what I'm saying? Grandma's had 50-cent bags of chips, but the family size, you got to be a certain type of person to have that just on your person at any given point in time. I got a tote bag down here right now with drinks in it. Like this is how you. It's how you live. You gotta tell people if you're prepared or not. That's how you know you're serious about life. That's what adulthood is, everybody. If there's any children that ever watch my show, first off, ask permission. Secondly, what are you doing? Third, make sure you're prepared for life. Have a tote bag with some stuff in it that you want.
But stay away from Orange Jubilee until you're 21.
Yeah,
Herb. Yeah, Herb.
Legally, I gotta say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I'm
don't
not. What?
ask permission from your folks.
No.
No way. Don't ingest alcohol until you're proper legal age in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Unless you're not United States of America resident, and then you go by the legal limit of that country. We have Irish listeners. I told you.
Shout
that
out
we
to
have,
that. Yeah.
Yo, you know what I'm saying? Represent for Ireland right here. I don't know who it is, but we got an Irish listener, and
What
they're
if it's
either.
Conor McGregor?
Oh man, I would be so hyped because he got robbed, bruh.
What?
He got robbed. Listen, I know it feels like we disrespect Floyd in the show now because it's been like twice in a row I mentioned him. No disrespect to Floyd, even though I believe that everybody should learn how to read at higher than 5th grade level. I come from a family of educators. We believe in education being a very important thing, but you can't take somebody who does MMA and just put him in boxing versus somebody who only does boxing. It's like all right, like peep this, right? So now let's say I've been playing Magic the Gathering for like 25 years.
Sure.
The game ain't been out that long, but let's say I've been playing it for longer than it's been out, right? I've been playing since beta, right?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got somebody who plays every card game, right? They play Pokemon, they play Yu-Gi-Oh, they play Magic, and then one day they walk up to me and they go, "Hey, look, I might be able to take you in Magic." Now I know all the most common rules. I know the new meta, right? I know the best strategies right now, right? I'm in practice my whole career, and they play Magic a few times one weekend, right? To add it to their experience to help them play Yu-Gi-Oh better. They ain't just gonna come out here and play Magic and whip up on me. But if we went to go play Yu-Gi-Oh, they probably tear me up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But Floyd knew that. So he said, I'm not gonna see you. I'm not gonna see you in the octagon. You're gonna come see me in the ring. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, Conor knew that too. He was just trying to make money.
Yeah, he a fool.
Was he though?
Yeah. Look, when you make that much money from doing stuff like that, there's a different story if you can make that much money anyway. Like, he was already making that much money. There's somebody like me, who bank account be like, has reached 35 cents before. You tell me like I can get like $2 million for getting punched in the face. I'm like, bring on the black eye, bro. What's good? What's poppin'? like, I don't even want to hear less. Just say less, bro. But then you specify like, all right, but it's gonna be hard to make money after that because your reputation is gonna be sour. Like, people gonna talk about you in the streets later. I'm gonna be like,
I mean, I think Connor's fine though.
He is now.
Yeah.
It took him a minute. It took some good PR. He had to pay somebody in PR to be like, yo, let's say this, because he really got disrespected.
Well, here's the thing, though. When he fought Floyd, if anything, it played into his narrative even more in terms of like being like this better fighter. Because coming from the MMA perspective of how he used it to market himself, it's like, okay, I'm already going in as a severe underdog. People are expecting me to lose. The biggest thing I have coming out on the other side for me is that if I put up a good fight, if I do win, it's going to boost me more. If I lose, I just lost to the person that's the greatest of all time. How does that really hurt me?
Right.
And I just made $100 million off of all this. UFC
Exactly.
wasn't paying me nowhere near that much per fight.
Exactly.
So it's like, did he really lose much?
He got a great platform for it too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, money. But I think what happened to his reputation was when he started, like, with the whole Habib thing, and the throwing the dolly and actually injuring UFC
Yeah, that was a
fighters,
mess.
women too.
Yeah, that was a mess.
And I mean, he cut one of the fighters' eyes,
Yeah.
and it's just, and he couldn't fight, and so it's just like that right there was a horrible like situation, and that to me was like what damaged Conor.
He
And that was
became-
what and that you don't see him anymore like
No.
that. You don't see him with that type of like personality in his last fight. He was
Yeah.
really humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
And
bigger
that-
than the sport though, or he came off that way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're too big for his britches. I will say that y'all have a history. Oh, I'm sorry. You have a future in PR. I don't know if you guys know. If you two put your heads to it, right? Because it's very important to get one-on-one perspective. And I think you guys can cover some PR issues, all right? Because y'all really made it seem like Conor was out here doing the correct thing in life, and I honestly thought it was just the wrongest thing in the world before now. And now I'm like, maybe. Right? Yeah, well, at the end of the day, you can only hope for maybes, man. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm never going to agree to. The best you can make me do is say maybe. I've said maybe on this show more than once, and I'm getting there. Now, that brings us to our very next question. It wasn't going to be a question before now, but I got into a weird place before the show.
That's when he does that.
I had some Orange Jubilee right before we got on camera.
I saw
and,
that. Yeah.
I decided
It's not just for show, guys.
what I was gonna ask. Just keep it up. How you feel about Drake?
Oh, you did it. I didn't do it.
I know, because I want to know. Because all right, here's the thing.
What's the day, guys? I need to mark it.
I don't even know. What is it?
September
today?
3rd?
Yeah.
I think it's the 3rd.
September 3rd. Yeah, September 3rd, 2012.
Herb
I
brought it
brought up Drake this time.
Oh my God.
And the reason I brought up Drake this time specifically, right, is because we finally got PR people here. We finally got people that could convince me of maybes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want somebody to try to convince me that Drake is okay.
Do y'all listen to Drake first and foremost?
I do. I listened to him when he first started popping off, and I kind of fell off after, was it Never Be the Same? Things Never Be the Same?
Yeah.
I fell off more after that.
This is further proving my point. What about you, CC? You been a face, CC.
Yeah,
you
the whole
your,
time.
Your lip, right? Like, so your bottom lip, right? It's supposed to be here, right? It went like way up here. It was like that.
Are you a J. Cole fan?
Am I a J. Cole fan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, snap. You the first one on the show.
Sorry.
Wow.
No. Don't apologize. We need that.
No, we don't.
We need diversity.
Yeah.
Diversity is key.
J. Cole.
J. Cole gets a lot of disrespect for no reason, I think.
Yo, what? He be putting to sleep. I go to sleep when I listen to J. Cole, personally.
You take a nap?
Yeah. Nap rap.
Wow.
Nap rap.
Even on Forest Hills?
Come on now.
trying
The world is waiting.
I hear you, but I'm trying to think of the songs on that album. No, not nap rap, but like,
Okay.
I'm not playing it more than like twice.
That's fair. Enough to get a second playthrough, digest all the lyrics.
Yeah.
Have your picks of your favorites. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And then make the face.
Pretty much.
Make the face.
I heard
See,
that.
so don't beat him up after the show.
Whoa.
Don't beat him up after the show. If you could do that favor for Berto, don't do a favor for me. You barely know me, but if you do it for Berto, don't beat him up after the show.
It's all love. It's all love.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, are you asking if like I'm sitting and listening to J. Cole, like Cole every like day, and I'm like getting pumped? No, it's was I listening to him today driving home from Raleigh? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when depends, but it's not like my top. Like, yes, I have to listen. It's
Fair.
just
Fair.
I mean, would I listen to J. Cole over Drake? Yes. Sorry, but I would.
Now this also wasn't something I pre-planned, but I gotta know now because we didn't brought it up. So obviously, to fight a person, right, intentionally, right, to pre-plan fight, you guys are both competitive fighters. Mm-hmm. What do you listen to when you work out? When you get ready for a fight? When you're prepping? Like, let's just say the warm up, right, before the match, before you decide that your foot isn't in somebody's face, but it needs to be. Before you decide that, like, I want to snap kick somebody in the back of the neck, right? Mm-hmm. Before you make that thought process, I say that because I don't know if Berto ever tell you, like, you passed out from that. Like, you snapped in the back of the neck during practice. Crazy.
I did tell her that.
It was one of the best stories I ever heard in my life.
I'll follow it up with it after I give mine.
So it's very animated. So if you had to make a playlist of the music to listen to, right? Mm-hmm. Before a fight, like, what is it? What's on that playlist? Like, it ain't got to be a long playlist. Let's say it's a 3-track playlist. What's there?
Mine is all something very relaxing and fun because of the fact that if I listen to something like that really gets into my emotions, my adrenaline goes up. I don't want to get my adrenaline to go up. I want to stay cool. So reggae for me is just happy, and I get into like more of like a rhythm. And I'm a dancer at heart. I was, a dancer since I was 3. So that kind of gets me happy because of the fact that, yes, you're about to go in and like intentionally try to hit somebody. You don't want to have an adrenaline dump in the middle of the fight. And in like round 2, you have to do that all over again. So you don't want, like, for me, I don't want to get my heart rate up. And my coach, I couldn't see anybody. I had to be in an isolated area away from all the fighters, the whole action, because he didn't want us to have an adrenaline rush before our fight. And we were there for hours. I mean, like 8 hours. So, that's something for me. I always had to listen to something just very calm. And I had to stay in that mode. So reggae was like my thing. So.
Oh, that's a good answer.
And see, me, I'm complete opposite to an extent. So
Berto's all mad.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm deep down, I'm not really a confrontational person. I don't go out trying to fight people. I'm not angry for real. If I can avoid confrontation, I will. But the way I've always approached going into a fight, I actually have to prepare for it. That I have to go into a dark place to where the way I feel is that I have to put my emotions to the side and not overly think of it being a person I'm going through. I would literally not look at them in the eyes when I would get into the cage or get into the ring. When I was taught my striking, we taught to always look at the chest because we can see the body move. You look at someone's eyes, they can fake you out, yada, yada, yada. So I would get to the point by the time I would walk out, I just feel like I'm looking at a body that I just have to stop. So it's like I have no emotional connection to whoever else is in the cage or in the ring with me. So I felt like I had to go somewhere to where, well, my fundamental aspect is it's either going to be me or him, and it's not going to be me. This person's coming in to kill me. I'm not going to die. I'm going to fight the most I can to prevent that from happening. that's the way I've always approached it. So for my musical playlist, I would have something on there. Like my walkout song was Fatal by the RZA, which was off of the Blade Trinity soundtrack. I like that. That was one of my favorites. And surprisingly, I'll listen to a lot of orchestra music to kind of put me into a mode of like, not calmness, but more of like narrowing down to like dark orchestra music. Think of like the Dark Knight Rises soundtrack.
From which movie? Because there's a specific movie you always listen to.
What, The Dark Knight Returns?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I always feel like I have to tap into something that's, not saying it's not me, but it's just a part of me that's like, I just got to go into a dark place in order to perform what I'm going to perform. And keep in mind, it's a competition. I'm not looking into it that I'm actually going to kill this person, but I feel like I have to have that mentality in order for me to not end up that way. Because the same way you said earlier, you're putting yourself in severe danger. Most people can't really do that. Like, regardless of someone can or can't fight, if you're going into a cage or in a ring, that still takes a certain amount of courage or insanity to do anyway, the fact that you're in there. So for me to go in, I have to think that I could be killed. I can get hit and I can be knocked out and never wake up. I can get kicked weird and I can never walk again. You never know these things. So it's like, if I don't put myself in that mentality to perform and always have the idea of being first in every aspect and not stopping, eventually you're going to get stopped. And that's the way I thought about it.
And it's so funny hearing that because, like, you and I are so different. Because you're like, yes, I have to bring that out. And I'm like, I don't want to, like, murder this person. Because, like, I'm a lifetime athlete. And that's, like, such a difference between, like, when he and I spar, I think we're, like, the only married couple in the gym that actually doesn't actually hurt each other. I mean, it's great marriage counseling because you get to, like, legally hurt each other and it's fine. But, like, at the end of the day, it's just so different because, like, Berto's getting out that suppressed emotion and I'm, like, I mean, I guess I'm kind of angry sometimes, and and it's so crazy because I'm like, I don't want to hurt this person. Like, don't let me murder this person. I just want to win. That's all I want to do.
All right. You may say that, but that's not how she spars. All right, let me explain that. All right, I'm gonna give y'all the perfect analogy, and this is from like on a comics perspective. I'm Batman when I spar and when I fight. If you end up dying, my intention isn't to kill you. My goal is to strategically break you down.
Right.
So, like, I go in and once the fight starts, I'm thinking not I'm going to hurt this person, is that I'm going to break your will. I'm going to take your confidence away. I want to get to the point to where I feel as though I can do whatever I need to do to finish it, right? And then we're done. Cece's the Punisher. She's going to take you out the worst way she can, make it torturous, make it hurtful. She's not going to stop. That's like what she is. She's a female Terminator, all right? She's coming after you. That's it.
That is such a great analogy, but oh my God.
I need to know, Cece. Do you into comics too? I gotta know.
So I got into comics because of him. He really made me a nerd, and I hate him for it sometimes, but I love it.
He was there when Steve Rogers first died for me. He was there. He put his hand on my shoulder when I cried about it. What's up with that, man? It's not important.
We understood.
But yeah, I mean, I watched.
Hey man, it's real out here.
Steve Rogers died in the comics. It was Captain America 25, issue 25. He got shot. Yeah, man. He died.
I'm aware. I know the story. I just
and then
I didn't notice about you, Herb. I didn't know you were so sensitive about Cap.
And then Batman shortly after.
Yeah,
so like,
I
know
Batman RP.
You know, struggling. You know what I'm saying? We had a rough year.
Yeah.
A rough year for us.
You know how it feels to be a Superman fan? He dies all the time.
That's not That's not true.
You don't see me being super emotional about
He goes to sleep all the time. He never
Because you know
dies.
he's coming back.
Exactly.
He just takes
So
a
does
quick
Batman.
nap. But they were talking about like
Cap does
every
too.
year they're like we're not gonna bring him back. It's gonna be different this time, right? Superman, you know, bro. He literally takes every time they're like, oh, he was just sleeping. I'm like, oh, okay. Superman only sleeps like once every 12 years when Doomsday punches him. And he sleeps for a little bit and then he wakes back up angry. It doesn't make no sense. And they put a little stupid mustache on Henry
Whoa.
Cavill.
Whoa. All right, Herb.
I'm still mad about
this.
I'm still mad about the CGI on the lips because I don't even want to get into the tangent. But like, how hard was it to fix that?
They could have just put a fake mustache on him.
They did they did deep fakes afterward on YouTube and they look better than the original version. It's like they had these millions of dollars and they say, we're not going to spend them on. We're not going to spend them on good CGI.
But I will say that the movie that he kept the mustache for was so much better than Justice League.
Oh yeah, Mission Impossible. movie?
Oh, y'all don't
It was
advocate.
so much better.
Don't advocate Mission Impossible. Hold on.
No, it was so much better. Did you not see it?
All right, so I didn't watch the whole movie. I literally only watched fight choreography scenes from that movie.
Henry
Because
Cavill cocked his arms like a shotgun.
I know I saw that.
I didn't need to see anything else. That movie was amazing. And I've seen most of it too. But he cocked his arms like a shotgun. And they made the sound.
I actually talk about that scene a lot in the world of fight choreography because it was improvised. Like nobody told Henry Cavill to do it, and he was just like, "I'm gonna treat my guns like they're real guns." And movie guns, you gotta cock them like the bullets don't even matter, right? Like you're not just gonna waste every single shell on the shotgun when you do it. So he was like, "Yeah, I've been in Hollywood long enough. I know what the people want to see."
Yep.
Nah.
You let them joints go too.
And people were like half asleep watching the movie, and they did that. And he was, "Yeah, okay."
He was
And they
like, I'm
fought
never
back
gonna
for
do
4
this.
hours.
He was like, I'm never gonna do this again because I'm about to do The Witcher. Some have swords, so I gotta take this out now. I gotta do it now.
Exactly.
Right, he cocks his sword in The Witcher.
Oh no.
He does his jump with the sheep, and he goes, and then he kind of puts.
I'm going to have to watch that now.
Oh no! You gotta see. You haven't seen The
No,
Witcher?
we've seen it, but now I got to watch for that
You
scene.
gotta find that.
I'm not going to ever see that again.
No, I watched Witcher, and when I went into it, I never played the game. I know, and I never read the books, and I should have. And it's a nerd fandom that I had yet to experience.
Same.
And then
Y'all are
people,
hurting me.
look. Let me tell you something. I went through this weird phase where I couldn't play video games for like a while. Like I couldn't play them. Like it wasn't like I didn't want to play them. I physically was incapable of playing video games for a while. I didn't have the time nor the means to buy new games. Like all games that was super duper old. And like so every time I try to play any game that required you to focus on any type of involvement or story, I'd be like, I play for 2 hours and then you sit down. Like I'm still playing Lord of Shadows. Castlevania Lord of Shadows.
Oh man.
Came out on a 360 Xbox 360. They're about to come out with a whole new Xbox. I'm still playing the first. And I have the second one downloaded as well. I just can't get to it because I'm like on stage 3 of the first one years after it came out. I know the face you're making. I understand the face.
I mean, I can't judge too much, but
My free time, right?
Old
That joint
game.
crazy. It's like tiny. And so I played by the checkpoint. Like I started playing Transformers Devastation recently, and I really enjoy the game. And then what I do is I get to a new checkpoint because I'm the type of player that has to like immerse myself. And I got to play touch every single part of the map. Like I'm looking for secret corridors in level 1.
See,
Right.
that sounds like my problem. You're the person that goes in, you're like, oh man, there's side quests? You'll do side quests for 5 hours and then like, wait, what was I doing in the story? And then you haven't touched the game for 3 months and you're like, I'm not jumping back in because I don't want to start over.
Yo, I didn't know there was an Oblivion gate in Oblivion. I didn't even know that was a thing when I didn't know about Oblivion gates for 2 years because I did nothing but follow the world itself, and I didn't realize I wasn't playing any of the actual story. And then somebody was like, yeah, how long did it take you through 3 gates? And I was just like, gates? What's a gate? And they said, that's what the game's about. I was like, nah, man. You just ride around on a horse, you get the horse, and you fight stuff. And they go, they give you a horse. I go, no, yeah, steal the horse from the stable, paint a horse. And he was like, no, you don't steal that horse. They just give you a free horse. I was like, what? I had no idea. And then the worst part is, I was going through all these little mini forts and ruins, and you take out all these like human bandits, and like every once in a while I'll be like a Khajiit rogue or something, and you take them out, and then and I loot I'm stealing like corn and eating it and mixing stuff up and stealing inkwells and quills and stuff that don't matter, bloomers and breaches.
It sounds like you need to talk to somebody, or it sounds like you need somebody to sit you down like, we need to show you how to complete a game from A to Z.
stealing everything.
I was, but I definitely I moved forward, and then I realized a couple years after they told me about the gates, they told me that you can go downstairs. I didn't even know there was like a secret basement. So, needless to say, I haven't finished a video game since Streets of Rage 1. I've recently bought Streets of Rage 4. But
have you started it? I want to know.
Have I started Streets of Rage 4? Yeah. It's an incredible game. I'm already completed level 2.
Oh, okay.
A couple more months, boy.
All right.
I might get level 3 out of the way for y'all. But the DLC will come up by then.
You ain't shit.
I'm sorry. Wait. So I got to bring it back.
Yeah.
Cece, Birdo made you. He turned you into a nerd. You got no other options.
Right? I don't. I really don't.
Who's your one? Who's your
Oh my
favorite?
gosh. So I love Catwoman. I love her. And I love Lady Shiva.
Wow.
That's crazy.
But I like Catwoman for different reasons. Because for me, like, she always walks that line. Like, she's a badass. She doesn't play by his rules. But when it comes to like Batman, she's got his back. But she's always walking her own line. And I love that. Like, because I walk my own line, you know?
That's true.
And
I like
so I like how she, especially with Tom King's whole run with Catwoman and Batman's whole story. I'm like, yeah, I'd go save Birdo if he was like frozen somewhere. Like, sure, I'll go get him. I'll take care of him. Like,
unlikely event.
Yeah, I know, right? Probability of me getting frozen by Mr. Freeze somewhere, and she has to come get me. Yeah. But at the same time, like,
but you know, I got your back.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah, straight up.
There is a chance. It's a slim one, but it's still a chance. There's always an option. We have a Goosebumps movie situation where, like, you know, the fictional realm comes to real life, and then the books take over. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. And then Victor's never gonna raise enough money to fix his wife.
Damn. Thanks, man.
Bro, he's never listen.
I mean, he right though.
At no point did he ever try to get a grant or start a GoFundMe, right?
He lives in Gotham.
Who can? There's a bunch of billionaires. There's so many billionaires in Gotham. Alan Scott's also in Gotham and never interacts with Batman for like years. He never interacts with Batman. So the fact that they have multiple heroes means that there's multiple villains, means it's billions of dollars because they're robbing a bank every week. Every week somebody tries to rob a bank. There's a lot of money there. And the fact that there's slums, right? But that means there's also mansions just on the outskirts. There's got to be a mansion row. So wherever Wayne Manor is, right? What they never show you is that you go down the street a little bit, and then there's just like 25 other mansions of like super rich, wealthy people just chilling.
It would defeat the purpose of Batman being the one rich guy all the town.
Lando Calrissian played Harvey Dent, and the Michael Keaton.
You just gonna change the subject?
I'm not changing the subject. Okay. I'm just stating a fact, right? So
okay.
the fact is, if they got Lando Calrissian, right?
Yeah.
To play Harvey Dent.
Okay.
That is the smoothest black man in all of Hollywood. That's first. Okay. Secondly, if he was playing Harvey Dent, that means Harvey Dent's mad rich because you're not that smooth without having a lot of money. Look at Lando. He got a whole city.
I mean, yeah.
He got a silk cape, and the world ain't got silk no more. Like the galaxy ain't even found silk. He got silk.
But
cape.
Herb, how many smooth talking black guys we know that is broke as hell?
In Gotham.
I ain't got no money.
In Gotham.
I mean, Gotham, yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's different.
Monster T ain't got no money. He always trying to rob bank. Don't ever see.
Killer Croc is broke. He's also black.
Yo, he live in the store. That's a shame, bro. You know, that's a struggle. I don't even want to. I want to.
Face is brown, but
I want to. No, but he was originally a white guy.
Was he?
Look, I want to bring this back to Lady Shiva because that I've never heard as an answer, and I'm familiar with her from the Question comics. Because if it wasn't for her and Richard Dragon, the Question would never got his hands. What made you like Lady Shiva? I need to know.
She's ruthless.
Yeah.
She's ruthless. I love that. I mean, I love strong characters, whether, you know, and she's like strong the queen of like martial arts, you know? She's a badass. She can take care of herself. She doesn't have to like have any kind of male come save her. I mean, she can handle herself and she's ruthless. And I find that interesting. Just like I like Poison Ivy too. And I mean, Poison Ivy's kind of badass too, you know? But she's also like, fuck people. I care about the planet. And I'm like, yes, like I kind of with the planet, you know? And so
Save the green.
But yeah, I mean, I like strong female characters that have their own voice and have their own like stance in, you know, the comic world. And I mean, I guess that's just really what I enjoy about Lady Shiva. And I can relate to that in a way. I guess like the person that I am, like when I fight, I feel like that's her. So I'm like, I'm seeing myself when I read.
I'm glad you said it out loud because it literally solidifies Berto narrative. So the first time Lady Shiva appears in the Questions comic, right? Richard Dragon is trying to train the Question after he got shot in the head and survived. Trying to get him to learn how to get swift hands, right? And she stabs him in the middle of sparring. So the fact that it's all or nothing, like kill to be killed, is exactly how you were describing the sparring. And it lets me know that is very true to heart. And I'm glad you were honest on our show. This is the HERBsurdity Podcast, and that was an HERBsurdity exclusive, everybody. We just got into the bare bones of somebody's psyche here based on a comic book character.
Oh,
absolutely.
Man, we can get deep. I can tell you exactly like how Batman influenced me.
Get it, get some, go.
All right, so this is how Batman left an impression on me growing up. For someone to be an orphan, for the character, I'm not an orphan. All right, I was brought up not in a single family household. I had my brother, I had my mom, I had a stepdad who was my half brother's father. But with that, the closest person I had to me was like my grandfather. He felt like a dad to me growing up because when my mom had me while she was in the Navy, I lived with him for the first couple years of my life. That was in Maryland. They get out, we move, we come down to Virginia. In Petersburg, I'm living with my stepfather's family, and I always felt like an odd person out, like I didn't exactly quite fit in for some weird reason. And even the longer I was around, well, never say that. Because my mom constantly worked, I'm sure everybody probably understand that having two families or a single family household to a certain extent, parents always out. They're constantly working, they're tired. You don't really have a chance to build that type of connection to a certain extent. So I dove myself into superheroes, dove myself into action movies and characters I could sympathize with. The thing that fascinated me about Batman so much was that he was someone that came from so much trauma, almost had to completely rely on himself, and dedicated himself to a mission that was above him to achieve something that was almost unachievable. So the way I saw it was that if you use those ideals as a person, it's almost as if you're trying to be a perfectionist by trying to be a good person, which you know it'll be something you'll never be able to achieve. Nobody's going to be perfect.
Right.
But you're almost striving for that greater good to a certain extent.
Right.
So I dove myself into that because it's like made himself a symbol.
Yeah.
He's above just being Bruce Wayne or whoever it is.
Yeah.
And also it's cool to be a superhero, man. No, what's bad about having somebody look up to you a certain way? So kind of saw it like that.
That's true.
Now I got the signal from I had a signal from our producer / editor Aaron Mack, letting us know that I've been running too long on time. So is two more things we'll talk about before we excommunicate the show. What was that finger?
I had one question because
go ahead.
They brought up action movies and heroes.
Pop it. Go ahead.
I just wanted to know: Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris, Wesley Snipes, Jackie Chan, all walk into a bar. Who's coming out alive?
Yeah, the Just Alex top 3 is turned into a top 5. That's
I know,
crazy.
right? That's a lot of names. Hold on, give me some of those names again. Make sure I got it.
Bruce Lee,
Uh-huh.
Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Norris, Wesley Snipes, Jackie Chan. I'm leaving out some names, but that's the 5 I'm going with.
All right. If I had to, from just those names, it would probably be between, I'm going to say Jackie, Wesley, and Bruce would probably be the top 3 that I think will make it through. I think whoever was going to come out on top is going to be whoever had the most physicality. I think Jackie may actually pull it out long term.
Well, he can use anything as a weapon, man.
It sounds crazy, but here's the thing. The reason why I say Jackie, and I may even put Bruce Lee, it kind of just depends on the situation, I think, to that extent, because I think the thing that separates Bruce, Wesley, and Jackie Chan, like all 3 together, is that Wesley has the traditional martial arts background, and he'll definitely put up a good fight, physical and all that. He'll be able to hold his own. Jackie's the wild card.
Yeah.
He's the person that can use anything to get the job done, quick and simple. And the reason why I say Bruce is because it's not even just his martial arts. It was the mentality and philosophy behind it. He was the first practitioner to adopt other styles into his own, which at a time that was completely frowned upon. We wouldn't have mixed martial arts without him. He'll be the person to incorporate boxing, everything to do what he could do. I'll say Jackie just had a wild card, though.
Yeah.
He may come through with a chair and knock everybody out.
See? You disagree. I need to hear it.
Well, I think I was going through all those scenarios in my head. I think it would probably end up between Jackie and Bruce, but Jackie Chan is like the master of the drunken, like, what, kung fu? Like, he's a master of it. Like, it's crazy because it's unexpected. However, because of that, I think that would test Bruce's fight IQ to actually be able to go on all of his philosophies of be like water. It's all fluidity. It's all about adapting to your environment at all time. And I think that is the mentality would be the reason why Bruce wins.
I can see that.
I say, even though you guys are both fighting experts compared to my amateurness, I will say that you're both wrong. Because what would happen in that scenario is they would all respect each other too much, realize they shouldn't throw hands. And what it ends up coming out to is a series of who has the best one-liners, which everybody knows is going to be my boy Wesley, because...
You always bet on black?
Always bet on black, bro. No. And let's not forget.
It's always the motherfuckers trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah! Yes! That's exactly the quote I was thinking.
I got you.
I appreciate it, brother. I promise I wouldn't cuss on the show, and that's what I needed, though, because they are. And he improvised that line, and it was one of the greatest lines in movie history. If everybody didn't know, we talked about it before, I'm a Marvel guy. Blade is the first comic book movie that I went, when I saw it. It's amazing. One of the first black heroes we got to experience. Wow. He started off as the antagonist, but luckily the protagonist was a guy who liked to bite small 16-year-old girls on the neck. So he became the hero. And we have Blade. God bless.
That got weird, man. Why?
Hey, look, because Dracula. The whole Monster League was like, it's weird. It's like Werewolf by Night. He don't never do nothing dirty. He just be sitting there being hairy, bro. Like, he don't. He innocent. You know what I'm saying? Dracula not innocent. You know what I'm saying? Batman tried to kill Dracula. Like, it's Dracula a dirty dude.
He be out here.
And Man-Thing, bro, like, he just want to protect the plants too, just like Poison Ivy, bro. He just his touch kills people, but he don't be doing it on purpose.
Swamp Thing is better, but
which one came first?
I don't care.
A character called the Heap actually came before both of them.
Where is he at now, Herb?
The Heap?
Yeah.
The Heap came first, and then Swamp Thing and Man-Thing was modeled after the Heap. But would you believe that the people that came up with those are roommates?
I'm not surprised.
They were roommates at the time. Yeah, it's another instance of Marvel and DC robbing off each other because the creators were literally homies, and we can never debate on who came with what first. Doom Patrol came before X-Men for everybody who was up for the debate. But we'll talk about that on a different episode. And at some point, I would like to have you guys back to discuss. And this is a teaser. I don't know when it's going to happen. But it's going to happen at some point. I want to talk about Berto's acting career. I want to talk about his potential in writing. And I want to talk about why he still hasn't made this movie he was going to make. Because I at one point I had signed up to be part of the movie. It never happened. I missed it. Some fighting choreography was going to get planned out. I'd like start lifting weights so I could sustain like a human body over my head without like getting weak for still shots. So like, no one would be at risk because we were going to do our own stunts. And for anybody who's ever seen my Facebook page, you'll notice me in a very poor first time cosplay. Me as Killer Croc, strangling a Batman. This is that Batman for anybody who has not realized it yet. This is this is the Batman in that image. And I've never taken that picture down. My first Comic-Con ever was with this gentleman right here. It's like that. Started history off rip. This has been the HERBsurdity Podcast with Alex and Herb. Good willing and God bless.
Thank you, guys.
The coroner drawing a nigga. This chopper right here disarming a nigga. My cutter unarming a nigga. Fuck, I look like let you hung with my niggas. Like you just gon' get away with it. Try that shit now, you can hunt like a nigga. Fucked up and drugged through the mud like a nigga. Ain't got any friends, all I got is my brothers. My 40 still on me. You die if you touch it. Can't go but my lonely. They know that I love them. We fussing, we fight afterwards, go discuss it. I'm slamming the blocks like Tetris. Loading the truck UPS. Black and yellow VVS.